So, House of Guinness just dropped on Netflix on September 25th, and wow, what a ride. If you've already binged through all 8 episodes of this Stephen Knight creation, the mastermind behind Peaky Blinders, then you're probably sitting there with your jaw on the floor after that cliffhanger ending. The biggest question everyone's asking right now is, when are we getting House of Guinness Season 2? This historical drama takes us deep into the real story of the Irish Guinness family, picking up right after the death of patriarch Sir Benjamin Lee Guinness in 1868. When Benjamin suddenly dies, his 4 children, Arthur, Anne, Benjamin, and Edward, are thrown into the deep end, having to take on the family's political involvement, brewery operations, philanthropic endeavors, and societal reputation. Since the story concludes in 1869, there's still plenty more material to explore. Current status and latest news. Here's what we know so far. Since Season 1 wraps up its story in 1869, there's absolutely tons of material left for Stephen Knight to explore in future seasons. And honestly, with both the real-life events and fictional storylines we've got going, it's pretty hard to imagine these characters won't be back. The most recent update actually came from Hello Magazine the day before the series even premiered. When they asked series creator Stephen Knight directly if House of Guinness Season 2 would happen, he gave them a straight-up yes. But here's the catch. Netflix itself still hasn't made it official. Why Netflix hasn't confirmed Season 2 yet? Now, before you start panicking, this is actually pretty normal for Netflix. They usually take a few weeks after a show debuts before making any official announcements about renewals. Remember Wednesday? That show broke records and became one of Netflix's most watched series ever, but they didn't announce Season 2 until over a month after it premiered. Based on Netflix's typical timeline, we probably shouldn't expect any official word until October or November 2025. I know, the waiting game is brutal. Why Season 2 looks extremely likely. But here's why I'm feeling pretty optimistic about this renewal. House of Guinness has been getting rave reviews from critics, and it fits perfectly into Netflix's winning streak of historical dramas like The Crown, Bridgerton, and of course, Peaky Blinders. Plus, the cast is absolutely stacked with rising Hollywood stars like Louis Partridge, Anthony Boyle, and James Norton. The real deciding factor is going to come down to those all-important viewership numbers and completion rates in these first few weeks. It was reported that those factors, when weighed against production budgets, contributed to Netflix's decision to cancel shows like The Waterfront, Fubar, and The Residence in 2025. Who's coming back for Season 2? Assuming we do get that renewal, and I'm betting we will, let's talk about who's coming back. Season 1 doesn't really leave much room for doubt here. Pretty much every major character would be able to return and keep playing important roles in the family saga. We're talking about Louis Partridge returning as Edward Guinness, Anthony Boyle as Arthur Guinness, Emily Fairn as Anne Guinness, and Fionn O'Shea as Benjamin Guinness, basically all 4 of the main Guinness siblings. From the extended Guinness family, we'd expect to see Danielle Galligan back as Arthur's wife, Lady Olivia, Anne Skelly as Edward's wife, Adelaide Dodo Guinness, Dervla Kirwan as Aunt Agnes Guinness, Michael Colgan as Uncle Henry Grattan, and Game of Thrones fans will recognize Jack Gleeson returning as cousin Byron Hughes. The supporting cast would almost certainly include James Norton as Mr. Rafferty, Nia McCormack as Ellen Cochrane, Seamus O'Hara as Paddy Cochrane, and Michael McElhatton as John Potter. Now, David Wilmot's return as Bonnie Champion is a bit more up in the air since Arthur and Edward destroyed the docks and paid off Bonnie Champion to keep quiet. What Season 2's story could look like. And this is where things get really exciting. That cliffhanger ending has set up so many storylines for Season 2. The biggest one has got to be Arthur Guinness's full political campaign and election, especially since his fate is completely unclear after Paddy Cochrane seemingly shot him at that rally. Talk about leaving us hanging. Then there's the whole Lady Olivia and Mr. Rafferty situation. Their plan to secretly continue their affair while eventually ditching the Guinnesses entirely is going to be huge in Season 2. Meanwhile, Edward and Adelaide ended season 1 as newlyweds, but there were definitely hints about some kind of compromise that might let Edward keep seeing Ellen Cochrane, the Fenian he's actually in love with. Expanding storylines and historical events. Season 2 would also continue following Byron Hughes as he expands Guinness distribution throughout New York and the rest of America. Even though he came back to Dublin for Arthur's Rally in the finale, he'll probably head back to New York to keep running the brewery operations and work on that secret Fenian Brotherhood deal with Edward's help. As for Anne, her Season 2 story would likely focus more on community engagement and expanding the family's charitable work. Benjamin's subplot is a bit more uncertain. While Christine is now his official mistress, Benjamin is still stationed with the Royal Horse Guards in England. To keep all the siblings together, Season 2 might see Benjamin relocate to Dublin. The rich historical material ahead. Here's what's really cool about this show. Season 1 only covered a really short period of time, so there's a massive amount of real Guinness family history to draw from for future seasons. Plus, there are all these actual historic moments in Irish politics involving the Fenian Brotherhood, Arthur's position in the House of Commons, and more brewery reforms that Edward will implement. The combination of real history with these compelling fictional storylines gives the show so much material to work with. Stephen Knight has created something that feels both authentic to the period and dramatically satisfying for modern audiences. So while we're all waiting for that official Netflix announcement, everything points to House of Guinness Season 2 being a when, not an if. The critical reception has been strong, the cast is phenomenal, and that cliffhanger ending practically demands a continuation. Keep your eyes peeled for news in the coming weeks, and if you haven't watched Season 1 yet, now's the perfect time to dive in and see what all the buzz is about.